thought I'd do a quick comparison video between an iPad Air 2 up to an iPad Air 4 for 2020, and just for anybody that's considering the move from the devices. Now, I've had this one, I think, for 6 years, and it's been brilliant. It's got the smart cover, so that is detachable and is really lightweight at about 80 grams. And then for the Air 4, I've got the lightest cover I could find, which is the Smart Folio. Now that is heavier, 100 grams heavier. So you do feel the weight difference between the two. I've not found any covers any lighter than that. So let's look at the form factor. So I'll remove this, so it's a bit out of the way. Let's get rid of the smart cover. There we go. I just wanted to be a bit more careful with the smart cover. With the magnetic back, I didn't want to drop it on the floor. So form factor wise, these are really quite similar. If we put one over the top of the other, the Air 4 is a little bit wider, and let's see, I'll adjust it to the top so it's a bit easier for you to see. And you're talking a little bit at the bottom as well. But the change to the screen dimension is fairly substantial, and it's a little bit harder to see when you've got a black screen around the edges. So I've now switched it over to the settings page, which is white, so you can kind of see the bezels a bit more easily now. And I've also turned off the true color because it was kind of tinting the screen and making it difficult to compare the two. But as you can see, the 10.9 inch screen on the Air 4 does look a lot larger than the 9.7 on the iPad Air 2 and any of the other sort of lower end iPads, to be honest. So this makes a big difference if you're reading magazines, newspapers or websites on the device. The new processor is super quick. Obviously there's a big step change between something that was produced 6 years ago and now, but browsing the web is super fast on the iPad Air 4. Camera wise, I think really don't worry about the one that's on the back. I can't see people taking that many pictures, but obviously the selfie camera is used in your FaceTime calls. That's gone up from 1.2 megapixels up to 7 megapixels, which is a big jump. And it records at 1080p as opposed to 720p on the iPad Air 2. On the iPad Air 2, you have a couple of speakers down this end and then nothing on this end, but you do have a headphone jack, the power button and the volume controls, together with your Touch ID on the home button. Now the iPad Air 4 has two speakers on one end and two on the other, so it is stereo. The microphone's up here now. You have Touch ID that's built into the power button. You've got your volume controls on the side, and then back down to the bottom, you've got a USB-C connector instead of the Lightning port on the old model. Now, it was worth noticing that there is no 3.5mm headphone jack on here. You will need an adapter. Those are quite cheap. I've bought one off AliExpress for about £1. I'll link to that in the description. Now, weight-wise, you are looking at 437 grams for the iPad Air 2 and 458 grams on the Air 4. Not a massive difference. However, when you add the case, this goes up to 520 grams. And because of the Smart Folio case, which goes around the front and the back, that's up to 638 grams, which is 118 grams difference between the two. And it is noticeable. This one feels heavier. I think I'll get used to it, but it's just worth bearing in mind that it is not as light and airy as it was before. Battery wise, you're getting about 10 hours still, about out of both devices. But wrapping up, I think it's a good upgrade between the two devices. I'm getting used to that weight difference, but the performance is fantastic on the new one. And also that much larger screen is brilliant for consuming content. So I can recommend the upgrade. It'd be interesting to see what the iPad base range will add to it next year, whether that keeps the home button, whether they go for a larger screen and maybe move to a USB-C connector. So keep an eye on that. But for now, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.